Welcome back, Truth Seeker. They are saying Trump has deployed the National Guard on Los Angeles over the immigration protests. The first time the National Guard has been deployed in Los Angeles since the Rodney King riots of April 29th, 1992. Watch a quick news clip, and then we'll talk about why this is happening 33 years later and what it has to do with the Carmelo Anthony stabbing of Austin Metcalf on Rodney King's birthday anniversary, the same day the basketball star Carmelo Anthony was nominated for the Hall of Fame.
Trump ordering more than 2,000 National Guard troops to L.A. as violent anti-ICE protesters burn cars, throw rocks, and smash windows for 2 straight days, threatening the lives of police and ICE agents. The rioters protesting the arrest of more than 100 migrants in L.A., including suspects accused of child abuse and sex assault charges. And here in New York City, at least 20 protesters are detained after storming ICE headquarters in Lower Manhattan.
So expect these rituals to spread from LA and New York and across the nation. Again, order out of chaos is the motto. The government needs occasional chaos to justify the incredible budgets they have for both military and police. They need these instances every so often so they can say, see, this is why we got to spend all this money to keep everybody safe. And constantly, it's the 33. Rodney King beaten on 3-3. The George Floyd riot started on 33rd Street in Minneapolis. Now here we are 33 years later. And if you ever forget the date of the Rodney King riots, just pop in your Sublime album. They got a song about it. April 29th, 1992. But look at this, you guys. Trump deployed the National Guard on June 7th, 39 days later. Why does 39 days and 33 years matter? Again, a lot of people will not listen to this information because their minds are so programmed. If this is you, you got to work on yourself. Gematria is the Kabbalistic practice of coding to numbers and to words, and why you would ever dismiss this on the surface, as 90% of our nation does, is beyond me, because it's no secret. The secret society that is Freemasonry, that has so much to do with this nation's origins. Again, a lot of the founders were Masons. If you look into Freemasonry, you'll find it's based in Kabbalah. If you look into Kabbalah, you'll find that this practice of coding numbers into words is a big part of it. Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Again, I learned about this from Manly P. Hall's book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, published in 1926. By the way, speaking of Los Angeles, there's a society dedicated to Manly P. Hall in L.A. He has a building there to remember his works and his teachings. Again, in The Secret Teachings of All Ages, his 1926 book, he lays out the code behind the English alphabet, the letters and the numbers. And if you read the whole book, he alludes to 4 ciphers. The alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26, the alphabetic order with numerology applied, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology applied. When you apply numerology, federal masonry secrecy, they all equate to 33. When you run it in reverse, they all equate to 39. So the face of the federal government deploys the National Guard 39 days after the 33rd anniversary of the Rodney King riots. Just think about it. And we've seen these numbers come together so many times, but we're not done. But that's the federal masonry secrecy part. Keep in mind, Rodney King was beaten on March 3rd. He was beaten on 3-3 by the police. And again, police, there's the Fraternal Order of Police, which is Masonic. The highest degree of the Scottish Rite, again, is 33. 33 is not an arbitrary number to Masonry. It's also not an arbitrary number to people. The reason Masonry is invested in the number 33 is because of the 33 bones that make up the human vertebrae, which is connected to Kundalini. Kundalini is about spiritual ascension up the 33 bones of the human vertebrae. There's a lot that can be said about the number 33. Even the words people and person equal 33. The word teacher is also 33. In numerology, 33 is the master teacher number. Notice LAPD, when you just take the alphabetic order without numerology, is 33. The LAPD beat Rodney King on 3-3, leading to acquittals a year later that led to riots. And keep in mind, the riots were on the 119th day of the year, and Fraternal Order of Police equals 119, as does All-Seeing Eye, and their logo is the All-Seeing Eye, which is a Masonic symbol. Keep in mind, right now we're in the time of the 119th Congress. And this Congress and this administration enacting, beefing up ICE for the raids and the deportations, that's what's led to this protest. With regards to CNN choosing the Mexican flag, protester getting smoked with the gas. Remember, the Mexican-American War did end on the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd, 1848. We just had the ritual with the Mexican ship smashing into the bridge in a big 33 ritual in New York a few weekends ago. I'm sure everyone forgot that in the United States of amnesia, but it did happen just a few weeks ago. But yeah, Mexico has the 33. Mexicans the same way, forwards and backwards, 33, 39. Mexican-American War ended February 2nd, 33rd day of the year in 1848. And with regards to the National Guard being deployed for the first time to LA in 33 years, National Guard with the alphabetic order is 137, which is the 33rd prime number. Notice, Trump took office January 20th. To him, deploying the National Guard was 138 days later. Of course, federal equals 138, like Donald Trump. You might recall his first full day in office, which was January 21st. He fired Linda Fagan, the Coast Guard chief. Again, that's not the National Guard, but I just want to remind you of this ritual with Linda Fagan. She was fired exactly 138 weeks after taking her position. I was saying then, what a ritual. What a ritual. This 138 thing comes up a lot with Trump. If you remember when the Nationals won the 115th World Series, we had that one pegged before they even made it into the postseason. We saw they were going to win out against Cleveland to sneak into the postseason. And we said, watch, they'll beat the Astros 138 days after Trump's birthday, just like how Trump hired the Nationals announcer for Inauguration Day, Steve Ray. Nationals equals 138, like Donald Trump, like federal, like Dave Martinez. There was a lot to the ritual for why we saw it. We had the Astros all year. We were looking for the National League team. We saw what they did by the end of the year. It was a Cleveland Nationals series that had it all spelled out, but it was these same numbers is the point. And keep in mind, Cleveland's the only major city in pro sports that has the 33 connection too. And don't forget the first degree of Freemasonry is the apprentice. And don't forget that Freemasonry equals 58, like secret society, and Trump won the 58th election the first time. The second time he got 58% of the electoral vote. The apprentice, the first degree of Masonry. In D.C., the Masonic city where the majority of this nation's founders were Masons. Okay. For more Freemason fingerprints, from March 3rd, the anniversary of the beating, to today, 96 days. Remember, there's a strong relationship with 96 and 42. The divisors of 42 add up to 96. Freemasons, 96, the big way, 42, the small way. Rodney King's birthday was 4-2. Numbers also stamped all over Black history. And in light of them talking about this is the first time this happened since the Rodney King riots, this happened on June 7th that Trump deployed the National Guard, 6-7. King equals 67. From his birthday anniversary to this ritual was a span of 67 days. If Rodney King were alive, it would have been his 67th day of his age. And keep in mind, he'd be 60 years old. The word police, if you don't apply numerology, is 60. Donald Trump equals 60. He just won the 60th election. Of course, it was all rigged for him, like we told you 4 years in advance it would be, which had to do with why his ex-wife died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year on July 14, 2022, the same day he said he'd run in the election. That ritual went over most people's heads. Again, the Jesuits are the daddies of Freemasonry. It's a whole other subject that we cover often. But anyway, in light of the race war that social media and some of the media has been trying to brew with this Carmelo Anthony stabbing of Austin Metcalf on April 2nd this year on Rodney King's birthday anniversary. Remember, they like to use the Rodney King dates. Trayvon Martin was buried on the anniversary of Rodney King getting beat. The recent thing, again, with Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, on the same day that the basketball star goes to the Hall of Fame. It's just like, how don't people see through these psyops? The Charleston church shooting was on Rodney King's death anniversary, which were today I'm doing this June 8th. We're 9 days from now. Let's watch what happens through now up through June 17th. June 17th is Rodney King's death anniversary. And do you know how old Rodney King was when he died? 47. Like Trump, number 47, doing this ritual. Remember, words like government, authority, president, White House, even Republican, Democrat, they all equal 47 in Gematria, just like the word news. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. But here, June 7th, just bringing in this other thing that's been going on in the background. The story with Carmelo Anthony and the stabbing of Austin Metcalf, how it's been tied to Rodney King the whole time, as I've been pointing out. Notice June 7th leaves 207 days left in the year. Austin Metcalf equals 207. And think about how this happened in Texas. And, that's border town along Mexico. And this has to do with immigration. For the record, June 7th can also be written 7-6. Protest equals 76. Karen Bass took issue with Trump's tweet. Trump praised the National Guard for getting the protest under control. The problem is the National Guard's not there yet. The National Guard hasn't showed up in LA yet, so Trump gave credit to the National Guard for getting the protest under control. I'm sure Trump will come out and say, well, just the threat of them showing up, it got it under control. But Karen Bass came out and said, they're not even here. I'd like to give credit to the LAPD for getting the protest under control. Look at this ritual, though, with Karen Bass. 248th day of her age, right? President Donald Trump, 248. The United States of America is 248 years old. Don't forget when Oprah and Kamala had the little powwow in the 248 area code in Oakland, Michigan, trying to get support for Kamala to win the presidency 47 days before the election. When it was Oprah back in 88 who asked Trump if you'd want to be president someday, like Trump equals 88 forwards, 47 in reverse. And keep in mind, this is, what's the guy from Maryland who just got brought back to the country who was wrongfully deported? His name equals 88. The judge that said bring him back equals 88. Maryland equals 88. Trump equals 88. That's in the headlines right now, too. The wrongfully deported guy is brought back. By the way, the only other state with the simple cipher that equals 88 besides Maryland is California, where LA is. So that factors in here, too. What's his name? Kilmar Abrego Garcia, something like that. I know his name has that. We covered it when he got deported. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I got it. Kilmar Abrego Garcia deportation date. Hold on. All right, on the Ides of March. Okay, so he was departed on the Ides of March, huh? All right. Let's just check something real quick. Let's check something real quick in real time. That's the 74th day of the year. Yesterday should have been the 158th day. All right, hold up. March 15th, 2025 to yesterday, the day this all started. Yeah, 84 days later. Okay. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen by June 11th, 88 days later, because, again, his name. Let me just pull up my posts on him. Kilmar. All right. So the judge that ordered his return, 88. His name, 88. Maryland, 88. Trump's 88. And again, California, also in the simple cipher, is 88. Today, the second day, or the day after the National Guard being deployed, they're supposed to show up today. Today will be 88 days before the state of California's September 4th birthday. So, yesterday, the day that the chaos broke out and Trump declared the National Guard, that was 89 days prior. Remember, that's a big chaos number. It was 6-7, a bit like 67, the 19th prime. You can see how chaos is 19 and 89. Again, the Masons etch Allah's number on their temple. They also etch order out of chaos. That's why they instigate these rituals, again, to justify the massive expenditures for police and military that we do pay as taxpayers in this nation. And think about it, when you start to realize it's your government that is instigating these things as a justification, you start to really see what's wrong. Winchell's Donuts, man. When I was a child, that was my dream, that someday I was going to own a Winchell's Donuts. When you're a kid, you think you can just eat donuts for the rest of your life. But when you grow up, you realize that is not a reality. Anyway, it's a whole nother topic. But yeah, this thing with the Rodney King birthday and the Austin Metcalf stabbing, and again, point it all out. And now just look at how it's all coming together. Again, it's like, for people to understand it, your government and your media are working against you, constantly provoking you, trying to instigate you, trying to make you point the finger at other groups to keep you divided, to keep you fighting, and not seeing what the real problem is. It is your government. It's your government that lies to you every day and taxes just taxes us all to death. I mean, we're all paying a crazy amount of taxes, and for things that don't need to be. Again, we don't need as much police and military as we have. For anyone who's like, well, see, that's the thing. So, well, what about right now? Again, listen to what I'm saying. What about right now? Yeah, something is being instigated by your government, where they probably paid for the rioters who came in and set buildings on fire and started the chaos. Just like how you have these Antifa federal operations all over the nation, especially in the West Coast, like up here where I live in Portland and Seattle, where the police aren't even allowed to touch them, and they're allowed to make chaos out of these cities. And then next thing you know, people aren't even going into the city anymore. Again, it's your government. It's your government. USA and Mexico flag there in the shot. Mexican-American War on the 33rd day of the year. But yeah, there's probably even more to this. Oh, by the way, just a few more things. If you measured to Karen Bass's upcoming birthday, it would also be 118 days to her upcoming birthday. I just want to remind you guys that we call LA the 118 city. Los Angeles, California is 118. It's also 89 because this did happen 89 days. For people who don't know, September 4th, LA, September 4th establishment. Los Angeles, established on September 4th in history. September 4th is the day, leaving 118 days left in the year. Funny enough, in a leap year, it's the 248th day of the year, but 118 days remain. It's the 247th day of the year this year. You could also say that this thing was... This thing popped off 247 days after Karen Bass's birthday, or the 248th day of her age, but also 118 days before her upcoming birthday. LA is on the 118th meridian west, and Los Angeles, California equals 118. It also equals 89. But remember, you saw LA burn up with the Paradise Fires the other year on November 8th, 118. See how Paradise and Los Angeles are the same thing? In Jewish gematria, death and homicide equal 118. Those were the deadliest wildfires in California state history at the time. Still are. But yeah, just the numbers get used redundantly and ritualistically. And again, all these stories that people are focused on, they're all psychological operations. They're all connected. They're all running together. And that's, again, mostly all of this goes right over their head. But we're here every day showing you how they're doing it. And then people will come along who are under the spell, who want to believe in this bullshit because I don't know, they have some kind of emotional attachment or they can't abandon their worldview, and they'll say back to us, they'll say, oh, you're just trying to put all this together. I'm not trying to put it all together. I've been telling you the whole Austin Metcalf race war psyops connected to the history of Rodney King, and now they're telling you it's the first time since Rodney King riots that the feds have deployed the National Guard. So... no, I'm not trying to put it all together. I am putting it together. Pull your head out of your ass. Wake up. This federal government needs to go. We'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Until next time.